Hello and welcome to this first ever episode of Tactical Recap, where we rewatch some of the latest games we encountered in the wonderful world of Wargame Red Dragon. This time it's a 2 versus 2 on Mudfight between me, Mr. Mallet, joined by the one and only Ludo K, against Chromator and LTG16, who started on the top side of the map, while me and Ludo started with our French and the Commonwealth deck on the bottom side of Mudfight. As most of you know, Mudfight, there's just many ways to play, but this time we decided that we want to have the city between Delta and Alpha, seeing here by any cost, seeing that from this point on, if you can bring 80 gems in there, basically control the resupply routes from the enemy towards Alpha, and you control most of Delta. So, what is the plan here? Very easy. I'm gonna go with some rather cheap units, most infantry, recon and ATGMs, some tanks and some AA, and try to bring a proper defense line into this forest over here and forest over here, basically just setting up a defense perimeter so the enemy can't push out of Foxtrot and can't push into Charlie. After that, I'm gonna try to join Ludo, who's bringing in his units towards Alpha in the city between Delta and Alpha. Well, let's just jump straight in, let's not waste any more time, and see how it goes. As I said, Ludo's playing with his Commonwealth deck, while I prefer the French, seeing that this is a very, well, let's say general deck that is covering basically everything the enemy can throw at you. Same goes, obviously, for the USSR deck. You can see here at the beginning, like the neutral perspective. Later on we're gonna jump in mine and Ludo's perspective, so you guys have a better idea of what is going on. We see the deployment zone starting here. I'm bringing up actually a lot of units here, some VBL Mistrals, the very good recon vehicle with his proper rockets to kill enemy chopper pushes, some AMX 10p Milan for the ATGM coverage of the open area, a Crowtail fast driving, fast firing chopper killer again, and one AMX 30B2 Brennis. On the same time, I'm bringing in units to cover the forest between Delta and Charlie and giving hopefully some supportive fire, while Ludo is trying to capture this city. Ludo is setting heavily on sharpers, as you can see here, Lynx NH H7 and some Lynx AH7 20mm. In the meantime, our opponent is starting with some proper tanks, T-72B and MT-LBVs, most likely containing Conquerors. That is our marked here, trying to fire at everything we try to bring into Alpha on this street here. At the same time, LTG16 is depending heavily on BTR-80As with their proper autocannons. We can see here, exactly. And as well some T-72BUs for longer range covering fire. And he also starts with some recon infantry in BTR-80s as well. MT LBVs, most likely Conquerors, in case they manage to conquer the city, they can like shoot down every piece we try to bring against them. And the Vasilek mortar to stun enemy units. Let's just skip forward till the game starts. Bring in more AAs, bring in some proper AA on this side again. Tunguskas joined by, this should be a T-72B, yes, from the beginning. What kind of surprised us though was that they started with 3 command vehicles immediately at the beginning. What is rather risky, because Delta and Alpha are most of the time plays of very heavy fighting, so bringing a CV for that immediately at the beginning is rather uncommon and not that smart in my opinion, because you never know if like the push towards the city goes in your favor, and if it's not, you have to work hard to get it back in there. So, the game is about to start. I leave my command behind. The units are deployed, so let's take another look here. Ludo is bringing his Lynx AH7 with his command infantry over to Charlie. Had it somewhere in the trees. That's very good. It's hard to find here. Same time, a massive push is gonna start here. I decided to support him with some units, 2 VBL Mistrals, just to, in case we encounter enemy choppers, joined by AMX-10 RC5B. I like this unit a lot. They drive very fast and have a proper cannon. It's not enough to kill enemy tanks, but it's enough actually to shoot down enemy transporters, as for example the BTR-80As, if they don't come close enough. While the enemy is, as I said, focusing a lot on his infantry and the BTR-80s, 2 Tors are actually brought in there. Interesting. 2 radar units. Not that uncommon, but 2 of them at the same time, it's a lot. He's already starting to bring in some Afghanskis and some BTR-152Es. And it's basically covering this side between Delta and Foxtrot with some Recon infantry, some ATGMs. It's actually enough. Not enough against a heavy push, but in that case you can crush them from both sides. So let's speed down here a little bit and see how the run for the glorious city between Delta and Alpha actually goes. This game was played a couple of weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago, during one of my streams. If you guys want to check it out, Mr._Mallet on twitch.tv, where I basically stream Wargame almost every day or every second day. What was the idea here? Ludo brought in his Lynx AH-7 20mm basically to bait the enemy rockets and to see what's going on here. So the enemy AA is too focused and is not attacking his AH-7Ss, what more or less works. They encountered the enemy, they managed to confuse him a little bit. We spotted the UAZ driving into Delta, that is a huge thing. But at the same time, we managed, or Ludo actually managed, to bring in his units and is stunning the enemy with the Lynx AH-7s here. So our plan worked, the enemy AA is driving towards Delta, and we already know where his command vehicle is. While we managed to kill most of their infantry, even though their T-72BUs were causing some problems, but they fast get encountered by the Lynx 3 in the background. And of course the SBS and the SAS were already in the town. Every push towards Delta by this time is getting pushed back, and on the left side not much is happening. I kinda missed by focusing so much onto Delta and Alpha to deploy my units properly, but luckily the enemy was doing the same. He just brought 2 tanks, the command vehicle, Tunguska, and some Recon infantry is trying to sneak through the forest line here. So no, not that big of a deal. At the time we have a lot of Recon here, and we don't brought any AA, so the MiG-25 PD were kinda useless until the Jaguar came, but he bailed in time. So, what do we have here? The Conquerors in the open field, a T-72BU already half down, and a Vasilev. We managed to kill most of the stuff they brought in. We know where their command vehicle and Delta is, and we basically have the city. SBS 20 guys, SAS 20 guys. The Milan are unfortunately already almost empty, but 1 rocket left, enough to kill, or to at least harm the T-72BU in case they decide to push. But this time the enemy kinda got desperate and sent in an Su-24M. I don't know why it didn't drop these bombs, to be completely honest. And sending in these airplanes, very expensive airplanes, very good at bombing the city, seems to be rather foolish. And at this point we realized the enemy wasn't looking a lot at what deck combination we played. Yes, the Su-24 can kill the AA, but only if it's the radar. And the friend units heavily depend, like on Crowtail for example, or the Recon vehicle, the VBL Mistral, with this infrared rockets. You don't depend that much on radar AA, so you're actually good to go. You don't have to be afraid of turning on and turning off the weapons all the time, because there could be some anti-AA airplane in the air. The T-72BM spotting my MX-10P Milan. By that time I knew the enemy has either Recon infantry in this forest line over here that's rather hard to push out, or is pushing here. And because I'm lacking severely recon infantry, I kinda have to go with it. I know he sees my Crotel and my MX-10P, so I know the infantry recon of the enemy has to be somewhere here. We still know where the UHC is because of the null force. Ludo managed to sneak into this forest line here, while the Spetsnaz VMF with weapons turned off is basically sitting right next to it. So on the left side we only have a lot of like ATGM battles, but this time the enemy is almost able to break through here. If the enemy is able to send in units into this forest line, we're basically fucked because we can't get units from Charlie back into this position then. What we managed to hold here, the AA is basically the last thing left, but while he's pushing his T-72Bs, I bring in actually VAB 2013 with some ATGM infantry, and by this time I know where his recon infantry is, or where it has to be, and we are luckily able to attack it. Sneaky Milan 2s from Ludo sneak forward and trying to kill the UAZ, but they are fast spotted by the Vasilev, but still managed to kill it with his Milan. This is a huge loss for the enemy, and by this time we're at 0 again, and the advantage of the enemy is not that big. To counter the T-72Bs, I bring in a Tiger Head that is quickly encountered by the Tunguska. I try to evacuate it, but I don't manage to do that in time. It dies miserably. The T-72Bs managed to kill all my ATGM infantry on my side. That's a huge loss for me. Well, we start to fire on his recon infantry and force it to move, so my commando's power can actually see it. By this time we stun it. What the enemy doesn't know is that I have nothing left on this side. He pulls back his T-72B, seeing that they are out of the SALH. Oh boy. Jesus Christ. Difficult to say for not a native speaker like I am. SALH. If he pushed, he would have this. We didn't have much left. The enemy in the center is still busy with his Vasilek mortars to attack the Milan here. In the meantime, we spot his T-72B Obra 1989. And the airplanes we try to bring in are quickly shot down by the MiG-25 PD. So, we're at 0, but we have units in Delta, we have recon infantry there, we have ATGMs in the city and in this forest line, and we have Alpha for sure. So everything the enemy tries to bring in here has to go through this forest the long way, because we spot it anyway on the open field here. Big disadvantage for the enemy, big advantage for us, but at the same time the left flank is entirely open. And I don't know how to help myself else than to bring in a 60-point VPM 120 mortar to basically annoy the enemy. The moment I spot them, I fire them. I killed in the meantime his recon infantry, and now I'm at the advantage of seeing everything he has or he brings in. Well, he has not a single piece of recon left on the left side. So, I'm just gonna attack everything I see at this point with my mortars, stunning it, killing it. Everything is allowed. Ludo is pushing up his Bison to see what we find in the forest. We find VDV 90s, what is rather difficult to encounter by that time. And Ludo is helping me out with his Lynx AH7s, stunning the T-72Bs. But they are dying in that process by the Tunguska. No, they are not. The Lynx AH7 actually killed the Tunguska, surprisingly enough. And is also managing to stun this push here. Great job, this guy needs a promotion. He killed the Tunguska, he stunned the T-72B like hell, and this gave me the opportunity to bring my second Tiger Head in, knowing that the AA is gone. And this Tiger Head is doing some work. We see his T-72Bs by that time, and he's even so desperate to bring in his MiG-25 PD in, while the Tiger Head is firing rocket after rocket onto the enemy lines, and is killing his T-72B. Firing his rocket pods onto the enemy infantry, is doing a lot of work here. Great job. I'm spending some, or Ludo is sending some recon, well, carriers actually, trying to see where the enemy ATGM units is, the Conquerors in this area here. And he also sees the Spetsnaz from Chromator running to this tree line. By that time, I unfortunately don't realize that. If I would knew they were there, that was like, get rid of a lot of stress I had later on, because I wasn't sure where his recon infantry is in this tree line, and he saw a lot of stuff I have here, and this gave him the opportunity to attack them severely. I bring back my Tiger Head, that was shot empty and did a great job, awesome job on this side here. While LTG-16 is pushing Moskaya Pechota, Jesus Christ, hard to pronounce, 90s into the forest. And they will encounter soon the Canadian Airborne, who will not stand a chance against these guys. They are just too good. Well, at least then we know that there's infantry coming. In the meantime, the enemy Chromator is resupplying his damaged T-72B and is supporting it with a KA-50 Akula. Rather dangerous. Regarding the fact that he doesn't know if I had any AA here, well, he's lucky that I don't, and he's firing at my carriers who are just sitting there trying to provide cover fire. No big deal, but at least I know what he has there. That is huge. We brought in a CV to Alpha, gaining points. We already are in the lead here. Tornado F3 sent after the KA-50 Cooler, missing it with a rocket, hitting with the second one. But now we're gonna lose the Tornado most likely to the Tunguska. That wasn't a good deal. That really wasn't a good deal. There are other ways to deal with the Cooler, but at least we got rid of it. He has to repair it, and we have some peace for a couple of seconds. We still see the T-72B. Again, I'm just firing with my mortars on everything I see. Maybe I stun it, maybe I worry him, his accuracy decreases, and this helps out a lot. We know that there's a shit ton of infantry in this forest by that time. Ludo's setting in his Lynx AH-7 to see it maybe and to fire it with the rocket pods, but in the forest it's hard to see them, and the Moskaya Pechota managed to fire at both Lynx AH-7s. We know they are there, but we can't do anything really about it. And we don't have that many units actually in Alpha left. That is a rather big problem here. Ludo brought some infantry CV over to capture Delta. We have eyes on everything they try to bring into Delta. They can guess where we bring it. There is not much space left where you can hide the unit. What you can build on is that the enemy thinks it might be a heavily armored command vehicle, because that actually makes sense to bring units like this into a heavy contested area like Delta. No, we brought in command infantry, so in case they fire with Smirch, we are actually good to go. And by that time, they actually really start to fire with Smirch at us. Smirching my first line here, hitting some stuff, but I managed to get out my MX-40 and my AMX-30 B2 Brennus, both. What's lying there is like an Unimog, and I think the VAB T2013 dies as well. So, not that big of a deal. Unfortunately, they have a pretty decent idea where our infantry is. They most likely spotted with the Spetsnaz here. While at the same time, the SBS and the CH-136, but the Moskaya Pechota. Wow, I have really problems to pronounce that today. And a push on the left side started. ATGM infantry fighting against T-72Bs. He hasn't still spotted my Commander's Power, who was sitting there on the tree line, spotting a lot, and the ATGM units kill off this push. While on the left side, a BRDM-3 took position and will most likely kill everything I try to push onto the forest lines. It's a very good recon vehicle with his 30mm cannon, if I'm not completely wrong. So, yeah, but we are at +2. We secured Delta, we secured Alpha, we have a very good grip on Delta. Enemy is bringing a lot of units into Alpha here by that time, and if he pushes, he's in a very good spot. What he doesn't have at all is AA, and this will like play a huge role in the end. By that time, the enemy is bringing in again air cover, heavy bombers, MiG-27Ks, trying to kill off my tanks. But in that process, he's getting hit hard here. The Mistrals firing off at everything they see, hitting actually both airplanes here, and the MiG-25PD are just circling in the background, trying to see what's going on. Seeing that there's most likely a lot of infantry, Ludo starts to reinforce the right side heavily with infantry coming in Bisons, most likely Canadian Airborne if I'm not wrong. While I reinforce with Ludo's help the left side. Here I know that there has to be some Spetsnaz in this tree line, seeing that the Conquerors are starting to fire on my units. They are all spotted, the AMX is spotted for example. The infantry is not, that means it has to be not immediately close to me. The enemy decided to bring in 3 Vasilek mortars by that time and attacking our command infantry that will most likely die. Miserable death. No, it survived. Wow, surprising enough. Unfortunately for me, the enemy brought in his Buratino because he has a very good idea where I am by that time in this forest line and that I have a lot of infantry there. And seeing that the Vasileks are a huge problem for our command here, I start to counter-mortar it. One of the last mortar shells of these guys actually killed it. I kill another Vasilek mortar with my, and by that time, 3 mortars in the background. While the Buratino is unfortunately doing a lot of damage to me. On the right side, we see the big push coming. VDV 90s with BTR 80A support. Moskaya Pechota. I really can't pronounce that. Encounter Pathfinders, Assault Pioneers, supported by choppers in the background. The Ka-52 is cycling there, but not going too close. Maybe trying to sneak on the right side, but we have some recon there. I brought in one of my Panthers, and Loader brought in a CH-136. The enemy is still not doubling. This might be like the one big problem. He has Foxtrot and he knows I'm not pushing into Foxtrot. So by that time, Chromator should maybe help out his friend LTG-16 on the right side. They decide not to do so. But that, in the end, spoiler alert, they losing the game. I managed to hold with like a shit ton of units. Now not hiding anymore just in the tree line here, but like basically in every tree line. You see here the small ones. So even if he fires with this Buratino, he will not kill everything. And I have a shit ton of recon units by that time. Loot is supporting with north face units, seeing that I'm running out of recon infantry. And on the right side, there's like back and forth of units. The Mochaya Pescotter experienced severe losses. The VDV 90s are stunned. So we pushed back their infantry pretty good, and brought some assault pioneers who are like just wrecking enemy units in the forest on our own. What we don't have is unfortunately another command on Delta, so we are at +1, but slowly and surely winning. Another Smirch is coming in. By this time, I'm not sure what he was trying to Smirch. He was most likely trying to kill my resupplies coming in. Well, this is not working. Our CV is totally at a different place. Maybe he was trying to kill my mortars. I'm not sure about that. But he's not hitting anything because I move my mortars after every shot. I send in another couple of carriers just to see what is going on here. I see the Conquer fire. And I also managed to see the Tunguska and start to fire at it. Unfortunately, I don't manage to kill it by that time. The Conquerors were too fast for me. But my commander's power push forward a little bit further. I killed the BRDM on the left side by that time. And the enemy's like having a lot of tanks in this forest here and is preparing a push most likely. But I spotted and ATGMs fly away, knowing what's going on there. In the meantime, I tried to kill off his Conquerors, killed one of them, but not enough. And this is a very heavy push. Even like with a lot of ATGMs coming from the AMX 10 piece, this is very dangerous for me. I have no heavy tanks anywhere, so I depend on my ATGMs, who just fly away, supported by Lynx 3 from Ludo. We managed to kill one, and he has to retreat, knowing that we have a shit ton of units here. The Mistrals in the meantime fire the cooler, getting one good hit, but then Chromator managed to get his cooler. I'll do the back. Another push with the tanks. And another ATGM battle. By that time the Tunguska is firing at the Lynx 3 that is raw a little bit further back. And now he's attacking the Lynx AH-7 here. Big push preparing on this side. Well, Spetsnaz, BMP-3s, so a lot of carriers, a lot of transports. And airplanes again on the left side. This MiG-25 PDs, they did a lot of damage. They had a very good air coverage here, good for the enemy, and another Buratino strike. Hitting my transports, hitting my tanks. But Still not doing enough damage. Now my commander's pairs are spotted because they decided to fire on the Motostrelki who were pushing over the open field. That's not that big of a problem. So we have two big pushes basically coming here, another push of the T-72Bs on the left side, and a huge push with already weakened infantry and BMD-3 on the right side. Some Moskaya Pechota, Jesus Christ, will I ever pronounce that right? No, most likely not. Are managed to sneak in here. I managed to stun the Ka-50 Akuda on the left side, the T-72Bs retreat, and now the enemy is just starting to spam units. The North Face pushing forward, meeting the Spetsnaz VMF, who are actually firing at another squad of North Face, but the North Face managed to kill them. And now we see what is coming here. These units have 2 MGs and are actually good at stunning units, and we are wasting a lot of our ATGMs on them. They're like taking the fire that was supposed to mean for the T-72Ms, who still get ATGM shots here, but they are slowly but surely pushing through. Not much left here, mostly Recon infantry, and even that is dying. But another ATGM hits, one of the T-72Bs is heavily hit. The enemy knows they have to do something. We have by this time a lead of +2 with 300 points, and they decide to start pushing heavily. 2 T-72Bs are heavily damaged, one actually gets killed. I don't know if the other one dies as well. I kinda doubt it, I'm not sure. I modify the Ozo AKM on this side heavily here, stunning them and bring them low health. This one actually survives another ATGM shot from the Milan. After this game I actually kicked out this Milan unit out of my deck because the autocannon and the Milan are not good enough to be worth it, in my opinion. After that I took on the AMX Hot, if I remember correctly. More ATGMs, higher accuracy, higher AP power. Yes, no autocannon, but that is not that big of a deal. His carriers are still pushing into Delta, trying to find our CV that is actually hidden here, an Iltis CP. But the Brannis in the back and the ATGMs from the Milan 2 are slowly but surely killing the enemy here. Retreating with his Mi-28 after he wasted basically his S-13 rockets on some cheap units. The enemy in Foxtrot is just hiding by this time with one very severely damaged T-72B left, 2 Ozas who are also heavily damaged. The push on the left side died, and he has barely any units left. Unfortunately I don't have the units to push here. It's mostly Recon infantry slowly but surely moving up tree line by tree line. What is happening now is very interesting on this side here, seeing that the big push with the already weakened infantry and the transports is coming. Huge fight, still we had +2, 70 points owned by us. But we don't have that much there. We have some units here, well this huge push with the VDB 90 on the right side combined with 30 guys on the Potter 90s. They will most likely tear through our lines. So by that time we know we have a problem. They actually get supported by Mi-8s MTVs. So they bring in their own heavy rocket pod choppers, and we start to face a severe problem here. We have some ATGMs in the background, Javelin GL. No, that's not ATGM, it's actually infrared. No, it's Sackless anti-air. I should maybe rewatch the games before I start commenting them. I mean, this is the first ever episode, so excuse me my mistakes. This is still work in progress and learning by doing. The Javelins start to fire at the Mi-8s. They actually survive 2 shots, or well, they survive 1 shot. The second one kills them. And we managed to kill 2 of them. While the SAS is trying to get rid of... Oh, the Ka-29TB is coming in, getting a nice shot from the SAS, who are unfortunately running out of Stinger ammunition. And we just start to randomly fire at the tree line here, knowing that there has to be... Oh, sorry, didn't know what happened there. Ah, that's weird. kind of skip always to his airplanes. The enemy has a lot of air superiority fighters by that time in the air. Su-24, MiG-27, his Su-27 PUs, a lot of airplane. They had the air superiority by the entire time, but we didn't care because we didn't brought that many airplanes in on our own, and we had a lot of AA in the air. The tracked Rapier firing away at the MiG-27K, not managing to kill it, but to cause a lot of trouble. The Ka-50 dies by another tracked Rapier that is also killing the Ka-29. Last push on the left side, encountered by the Paraps commandos. Another AMX-10P Milan on this side, getting sniped by the T-72Bs. The enemy, seeing that they have to do something, having less than 100 command points left to get us basically to 0. They counter cap on Alpha, and by that time they actually have this site, more or less. If they were able to kill the command unit in Delta, it would be huge for them. But they decide to submerge Alpha, not knowing that the command infantry is hidden in the middle of this tree line. Another push towards our CV and Delta would be most likely more successful, but they decide still not to double up. They are split up. LTG alone on the right side. Together they will most likely even be able to push us out of Alpha and capture it. With that, it would be at 0. And killing the CV in Delta is not that difficult. But we start to reinforce heavily. Ludus bring in a lot of Bisons. His ASLEV 25 Recon vehicle. Very good unit. Especially in close quarter combat. But the time is ticking. On the left side the push is dying again. Another T-72B is heavily damaged. So I have the resources and the time to support Ludo here. I bring in as well some units. And firing away with my Caesar at basically everything I see. Trying to keep the pressure up on the left side so they actually can't split up. Trying to snipe his CV. He moved it a little bit further up. But it's almost hit. So close. Very unlucky on my side. While the Spetsnaz VMF are pushing here. Let's jump to the main battlefront here. CH-136 firing away at the Pechota. 90s. Heavy fights here. We've kind of like went back onto this tree line here. Decided to reinforce with tanks. In the meantime, the Bertino is firing away at our city here. Killing some stuff, but not doing too much damage. Fortunately, the enemy actually sneaked in some Spetsnaz rules, so they see everything we try to bring in. But the range of the Concourse is not big enough to fire at the units that drive on this road here. Heavy fightings everywhere in Alpha. 48 points left for the enemy to, well, neutralize us basically. But the Recon vehicles of Ludo doing a lot of damage, especially supported by the Leopard C2 Maxis. Great unit. What the fire is doing is panicking Ludo's choppers who try to resupply the units here, but the SAS are still alive, the SBS are still alive, and here comes the T-72A push. I decided to bring in some Crotales here for air fire, for air support. And the smoke is actually damaging the enemy more than it's helping him. Yes, the T-72As are doing severe damage to the SAS, but the SAS also managed to kill one of those units. The tanks are still pushing. Slowly but surely they're killing everything we have in this city. But by this time, 30 points left, air spam coming in. All we have here left is basically like supply vehicles, and the enemy is continuing to push. They're doing an awesome job. They are very close to like turn this. And most of it was done by LTG-16. He was doing an awesome job by building up pressure into Delta, into Alpha, and by now we are neutralized. But we managed to bring in Lynx 3s and Tiger Heads. The enemy has no AA in the center, so all the tanks are dying by now. He's trying to bring kill our choppers here, sending in his very expensive air security fighters, but they just get shot down by the Tiger Head, for example, or the Crotales in the background. Yes, they managed to kill a lot of expensive units, but I bring in more and more Tiger Head to resupply them. The enemy is actually getting +1 by now, but this is not helping him. It's too late for that. He lost a lot of units, is keeping pushing with his infantry, not securing Alpha, but actually trying to push towards maybe Charlie, towards Bravo, I'm not sure though. But we bring in some units onto Alpha. Foxtrot is basically uncontested, Delta is basically uncontested. He's bringing in BTR 80s and BTR 90s. Chromator is now helping out on the right side with infantry, getting into the city. They managed not to kill actually our CV. Ludo was so careful to bring it into safety, giving the enemy some points. But again, no AA in the open field. The carriers get sniped by the Lynx 3. Managed to get some units into the city. But the Tiger Hab, seeing the enemy infantry here, it's just killing him. And we countercap. We're at 0 and ATG 16, seeing that there's nothing left on the entire right side except his command, decided to leave. He left the game and is quickly followed by Chromator. He is not now willing to give up, while the Tiger had having a blast killing this VDV 90s. They are firing back as good as they can, but it's not enough. The Tiger Hab is moving forward, kinda knowing where the enemy CV has to be. He forgot to turn off his weapon, so he's firing at the Tiger Hab, and the Tiger Hab is firing back with the autocannons, killing it, being us at +1. And by this, Chromator realizes he lost the game, and he surrenders as well. In the end, Ludo did an amazing job on the right side, fighting against LTG 16, who was unfortunately not doubled by Chromator. This would be a great way for them to win. I was not willing to push on my side, so we had a little tango on the left side there, near Foxtrot, but he just had to secure his sector, and after that he could help LTG 16 on the right side, something he should have done. Also wasting a lot of his heavy bombers. He should have used them on the city in the middle. Losing that city or keep it uncontested is a huge thing. So I was rather lazy during this map. Most of the work was done by Ludo, who did an amazing job, as I said. We are both positive. LTG 16 and Chromator, awesome players, did a great job, but after we won the city at the beginning of the push, and they kind of missed some opportunities to push through our left flank, what would bring us into huge trouble, because I was not paying a lot of attention there, seeing what Ludo was doing on the right side. Nonetheless, this was an awesome game. I had a lot of fun. Mudfight, actually one of the first games I ever won on Mudfight, because I find this map rather difficult to play. A lot of sneaking with recon infantry through the forest, ATGM battles, airstrikes. It is always intense. Mudfight is either won within the first 12, let's say 5 minutes, or it lasts for, like now, 30 minutes straight. It is a constant back and forth. Nonetheless, awesome game. I learned a lot, and I hope you guys had some fun as well. It was a blast. So, if you like what you saw, hit me up on Twitch, Mr. Mallet. Give me a follow, give me a like, whatever you feel is proper. And with that being said, welcome to the end card. I want to thank you a lot for watching. Seeing that this is a very new series, I appreciate every kind of feedback, of criticism. Just post it into the comments. Hit a like if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe if you want to see more, or just go straight to Twitch, search for Mr. Mallet. You will find me there, basically seeing me streaming Wargame every day, so you'll never miss a game and will not only see the good games, but also the very, very bad games of me. Thanks for watching, and I wish all of you a beautiful day. Goodbye, and hopefully to the next stream or the next video. Have a good one, guys.